Good morning, everybody. It's your boy Opti. Again, Nico's taking his break, his much needed break. And man, I see why he needs a break, I'll tell you. Anyways, today is Thursday, March 25th in the year 2023. And welcome to Simply Bitcoin. We are your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover breaking news, culture, and nomadic warfare. We bring on Bitcoiners from all around the world, from the biggest names to the everyday Bitcoiner, and we got them all. And we will be your guide through the separation of money and state. And as I was telling everyone in the spaces, we're seeing a very, very interesting thing play out right now in the world, whether that is independent content creators becoming orange-pilled or whether it is politicians, presidential candidates on both sides of the aisle starting to embrace Bitcoin. Now, I know what all you Bitcoiners are saying. Oh, all the Bitcoiners are losing their minds over someone saying Bitcoin, can't trust a politician. I agree 100%, but I think the theme still rings true that Bitcoin will be a point of contention moving forward, whether that is in the political class or the independent content creators. It's something we talk about here all the time. We know what the problems are, but most people don't know what the solution is. And if you're not talking about the solution, which is taking Bitcoin into self-custody, stacking sats, and spreading the Bitcoin signal, then you are a part of the problem. And while personally, I am not the biggest fan of politicians, I think there is still value in them talking about Bitcoin, whether that is anti-CBDC talk, whether that is pro-Bitcoin talk. I think there is still a few good politicians. Well, hold on. That might be an oxymoron there. But there's still some people that believe in the American ideals of freedom, a government for the people, by the people. And while there is some contention over the idea of democracy in the Bitcoin space, I think the ideology of democracy still rings true to most people around the world. That idea of empowering the individual and giving them the most freedom possible. Now, I know there's nuance to this in the Bitcoin space, and we can talk about all that on another show. And I'm sure actually Rustin and I might talk about that on today's show. But we are also hearing interesting news come out of Hong Kong and China. And remember, China banned Bitcoin, and now they are sneaking their way back into the Bitcoin space. So I think we are getting set up for a very, very solid bull run. And even the Giga Chad Sailor himself said we are out of the bear market. Only time will tell whether we are completely out of the bear market. But hey, I'm hopeful, guys. Please serve me familia. Anyways, I am not alone on today's show. We got Rustin back. Happy to have you, Rustin. How you doing today? I think today is going to be a great show. We tailored this show perfectly from the numbers to the news to the culture. We have a running theme on today's show. Bitcoin is liberty, and you cannot ban Bitcoin. You can only ban yourself from Bitcoin. And we brought the receipts. Anyways, Rustin, what's up, bro? How you doing this morning? Looking fresh.
Doing great. We're here being rebellious Bitcoiners, standing for liberty and freedom. We cannot be controlled by the fear machine that is the mainstream media. We are here to spread the message and the gospel of the bright orange future. And one does not simply ban Bitcoin. So many people out there be talking that smack, saying, oh, they're just going to outlaw it. They're going to ban it. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Well, we're going to dispel that FUD and show you what's been going on in China, how you just can't stop Bitcoin. The honey badger don't care. It just keeps proliferating its joy and freedom across the world, and there's no way to stop it.
Man, I'm getting bullish already just listening to the intro. All right, let's bring the receipts. Let's get into the numbers.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Brought to you by Nodl. At this point, you should be running your own Bitcoin node. If you don't use your own Bitcoin node, you're trusting someone else's. Run your own version of Bitcoin Core, the Lightning Network, Whirlpool, and Dojo, all from the comfort of your own home. And if you're a digital nomad, you have absolutely no excuse because now you can run a Nodl through a virtual private server. Visit nodl.eu today.
All right, guys, before we get into the numbers, of course, I know everyone out there is still on the hangover from Bitcoin 2023. Well, we will be at Bitcoin 2024. And the reason we're plugging it now is because everyone out there, all of you guys are complaining about the price to the conference. Well, get your early bird tickets now. I'm pretty sure it is $300 for the conference in Nashville. We will be there July 25th, 27th, 2024. We are taking over Nashville, and it's going to be lit. The biggest Bitcoin conference in the world. I hope to see you guys. It's going to be a blast. You guys need to get to Nashville. You guys need to get to these conferences. If you've never been to one, you have to at least make the Mecca once. This is a global celebration of what Bitcoin is doing and changing the world. And as we saw this year, politics was a huge theme, and I can only imagine that the same is going to be moving forward. I'm very excited to see what our friends over at Bitcoin Magazine do, because they are in the effort of trying to break out of the Bitcoin echo chamber, and this is what we need to do. I know we preach to the choir every single day. You guys are Bitcoiners, but we do our best to spread the signal and get the Bitcoin ideas outside of just Bitcoiners and our echo chamber on Twitter. Not everyone has to do this. If you just want to, add signal to the echo chamber, by all means, do what you want to do. But we are trying to get this out to everyone around the world. Anyways, let's get into the numbers. We are over here on Clark Moody's dashboard. And of course, the block height is 791,357. And the current Bitcoin price is $26,300, which means the Moscow time is currently around 3,802. I've been saying for a minute in the spaces, we're never going to see 4K again. We might be seeing 4K stats again, guys. So I hope you guys are stacking up. Anyways, the percentage issued of all total Bitcoin ever to be created is currently at 92.3%. The market cap of Bitcoin is around $509 billion. The realized monetary inflation is 1.75%, taking fiat currencies to school. I think most currencies at the lowest are around 5% right now. So, things that make you say, And then the Bitcoin versus gold market cap. Bitcoin is only 3.86% of the gold market cap, which means there is so much room to run, and you are still early. And then the Lightning Network. The total public capacity is currently 5,341.43 BTC with a fiat value of 140.5 million. The public reachable Bitcoin nodes is 17,096. And the hash rate for the last 90 days, as you can see, if you remember from yesterday, it is going up a little bit. We are at 340.4 exahashes. The estimated difficulty adjustment is at 0.9%. And the mempool, I did send a transaction this morning. I had to get a fee that was a lot higher than one sat fees, but hey, it's not as bad as it was. But anyways, there's still 92 blocks to clear, and the pending fees is 15.69 BTC. Anyways, guys, as you guys can tell from the thumbnail and the title, today we are going to show you a clip from Max Keiser, orange pilling Jimmy Dore. And if you don't know who Jimmy Dore is, he's a comedian, political commentator. He's an independent content creator. He's got 1.2 million subscribers on YouTube. And I'm pretty sure this video got somewhere between like 50 to 100,000 views or something. I forget off the top of my head, but this is still part of what we've been talking about for a minute and how we opened up the beginning of the show. It's getting the Bitcoin signal to adjacent circles that aren't necessarily Bitcoiners, but they have the Bitcoin ideals. They are freedom-minded, they're liberty-minded, and they want what's best for not only themselves, but for America, for the world, because I think everyone understands the problem. We are in a world right now of almost total tyrannical, authoritarian overreach, and it's becoming a very worrying point of view that we are seeing right now. The world is heading towards total dystopia, and most people don't know how to stop the train. And furthermore, we have the biggest government in the world, the US government, that continuously starts to fight Bitcoin. And it's very worrying. But we are seeing around the world that you can't stop Bitcoin. You can't ban Bitcoin. You can only ban yourself from Bitcoin. And it's upon us Bitcoiners to spread the Bitcoin signal to our friends, our family, to independent content creators that aren't necessarily Bitcoin. As we've been saying, to break the Bitcoin echo chamber. Get outside of just your friends. Stop preaching to the choir. Let's get people that are around the Bitcoin ethos into Bitcoin. And this is how we win. This is how we, what's Corey always say? We win the race to avoid the war. This is the way. Anyways, teeing this up, giving you guys some context of this clip. This is the very beginning of this episode by Jimmy Dore with Max Keiser. And I'm blanking on what the title was, but it's something on the lines of Bitcoin fights the oligarchy. Or Bitcoin is democratic. I forget what the title was, but anyways, Jimmy is referencing RFK, Robert Kennedy Jr. at the Bitcoin conference, and he had a moment where he realized the importance of Bitcoin for liberty, and he angles it in the idea of the importance for Bitcoin for democracy. Again, I know some Bitcoiners have some contention there, but it's still the same idea that breaking the Bitcoin echo chamber starts to show to other people that are surrounding the Bitcoin ethos that, hey, Bitcoin is the tool to help us break through the tyranny, to combat the authoritarian overreach. And it's just beautiful to see that we are breaking out of the Bitcoin echo chamber. So shouts out to Max Keiser. He's very charismatic. He's a character. I love seeing him freak out on the internet. It's just beautiful to see him on our side and be continuously beating that Bitcoin drum. Anyways, let's get into this video.
And Max Keiser. Now, I had never put together before that liberty and democracy and Bitcoin and that blockchain technology. And of course, it's the perfect example to use what happened with the truckers in Canada. Now, the mainstream news media, the corporate big pharma funded news media, demonized the truckers as Nazis and white supremacists. Of course, they were neither of those things. They were peaceful. And they weren't protesting medicine. They were protesting authoritarianism, and they shut down their bank accounts, which was super scary to people like me. Let me bring you in, Max. And what would you like to say about RFK Jr.'s speech?
Right. Well, it was extremely well received. I was there. I was witnessing it, and he makes some excellent points. The one about freedom of speech and freedom of money are equally important to a free democratic society. When he talks about Bitcoin and democracy, what he's talking about there, Jimmy, is that with Bitcoin, you don't have the problem that you have with fiat money, which is fiat money, of course, is the paper money or the US dollar, where those with the most dollars make the rules. You have these wealth concentrations developing. And it's not democratic because the big banks, for example, can go to Washington and make rules to help the big banks to make more money, to have more influence in Washington, to make rules to become bigger banks, right? JP Morgan is seemingly the only bank in America that's allowed to operate in a way that is outside of in other words, they have no rule of law applying to JP Morgan, it would seem. So with Bitcoin, it works in a different way. It works on a system of proof of work where no matter how much Bitcoin you have, you don't have influence over Bitcoin. You can't manipulate Bitcoin. You can't manipulate the algorithm. You can't manipulate anything about Bitcoin. It runs autonomously. There's no central authority that runs it. It's up and running, and it's running by itself. So it doesn't have the same problems you have with fiat money and wealth concentration. So when RFK is talking about Bitcoin and democracy, he's talking about how Bitcoin allows for power to be distributed and decentralized. This is the idea of democracy is by and for the people. So Bitcoin, because of the way it's designed, it ends up being decentralized, is what we say in Bitcoin. And you don't have these concentrations of wealth due to the fact that with the US dollar and fiat money, those who run the printing presses have all the power. So that is taken away from them. Bitcoin is the first example in our history of separating the state from money. And this is interesting that RFK, a major political figure, would be advocating Bitcoin because he's essentially advocating for the downsizing of the state in a lot of ways. But one can understand this because he's also quite sensitive to what happens when you let the state run amok.
Absolute pure signal. Highly recommend you go listen to the whole episode. because Keiser just goes in and blows Jimmy's mind, of course, like he blew all of our minds. Anyways, just to hit on a few points. Of course, first and foremost, Jimmy did say blockchain, but we know it's Bitcoin, not crypto. He's still learning. I know, forgive him, forgive them, for he knows not what he does. Anyways, Bitcoin is freedom. Bitcoin is liberty. Bitcoin is the way to opt out of the madness. We say this every single day. And, first of all, like I said in the beginning, kudos to Keiser for breaking out of the echo chamber. And Jimmy said it himself. This opened his eyes. The Canadian trucker movement, RFK at the conference. This is opening people's minds like himself that are freedom-minded, liberty-minded people, that they don't understand that we have the tools. And what do I say all the time? We know what the problems are, but most people don't know that we have a solution to the problem, and it's about spreading that solution to everyone, everywhere on planet Earth, because they still don't know that there is an option to escape. And what's Chrissy Lagarde say? If there's an escape route, people will use it. Well, people are using it. The signal is spreading, and it's just beautiful to see. As we say all the time, or actually rather I say all the time, we're going to work ourselves out of a job. This is the way. Anyways, you guys are very familiar with this, whether you know this consciously or subconsciously. Money makes the world go round, and the incentive structures of fiat is rotten, hence why we are in the position that we are in today. And Bitcoin cannot be co-opted. Just because you have more sats, just because Saylor has more sats, just because early Bitcoin OGs have more sats than you, doesn't mean they can influence the network, which is stark contrast to the fiat system, which looks a lot more like a proof of stake system. The more money you have, the more money you can push towards the things you like, and the more power you can gain for yourself. Anyways, I think as a Bitcoiner, and maybe Rustin can elaborate on this idea a little bit. I know a lot of Bitcoiners, they get caught up on the idea of democracy and Bitcoin not being democratic. And I agree with that as well, because, on a pragmatic level, I view democracy as mob rule. But on an ideological level, on the Overton window level, the idea of democracy is to allow individuals to flourish, by the people, for the people. That is the idea, and that's how most people view this, again, in practice. And Nico might find contention in this, but in practice, it feels like mob rule. Now, whether this is an inherent failure of democracy, I don't know. But when most people think about it, they think of freedom. They think of the individual flourishing. And it just hasn't played out that way. The world we live in is not this ideal utopia that we find ourselves to believe it is. But this is because of the fiat system. This is because of the incentive structures of bad money. And this is what we are doing: separation of money and state. And even Jimmy keeps saying it. We're continuously hearing the same idea of we are in the battle of separating money from state, because why is a small cabal of people allowed to control the money? Why are we being forced to use a money that steals from us? And I really like the very end of what Max Keiser was saying. Does RFK Jr. understand what he is actually advocating for? Because if he fully does, and he really is a Bitcoiner, he is advocating for a smaller state, a smaller government. It's kind of that Lord of the Rings meme where, you throw the ring in the fire. Does he understand fully what is going on? I think only time will tell. But not to be one of these Bitcoin fanboys over here and, killing my idols like everyone always says. I think either way, we are moving the Overton window, and people are waking up to the idea of Bitcoin is freedom, Bitcoin is liberty. And hey, whether they are actually Bitcoiners or not, the Barbara Streisand effect will not be stopped. The more people that are outside of Bitcoin start talking about Bitcoin, the more the average person will wake up to the idea that, wow, okay, maybe I need to look into this Bitcoin thing, because maybe it is something that actually does help humanity, and maybe the corporate press has been lying to me about it. Anyways, I've been ranting enough. What's up, Rustin?
Yo, I loved it, man. That was great stuff. And we're kind of getting into, some people interpret democracy versus republic in different ways. But in gist, democracy is representative government and rule by the majority, which hence that mob rule, 51% control everything. But if you go back after the Constitutional Convention, someone went up to Ben Franklin and they were like, so what do we got here? He said, it's a republic if you can keep it. Now, the difference between a democracy and a republic is an area governed by the rule of law. So the law justly applied to everyone. So we did have a decentralized republic to begin as a series of different states, but in a union of sorts. So a constitutional republic or democratic republic, or those would maybe be a better way of talking about what the founders were looking for. But if you look at Bitcoin, it's rules without rulers, which is kind of like a republic, and that these laws justly applied to all who choose to interact with, use, or we entered into a social contract with Bitcoin, whether consciously or unconsciously, because we agreed to the terms of the protocol in a way. So republic versus democracy, we get lost in the weeds on those sometimes, but I think people are just searching for the word freedom when they're getting into that, because if we just go democracy, who's been more tyrannical and authoritarian these past 3 or 4 years, whether it's Canada, the UK, Australia, even some places in the US, with saying you can't go certain places, you can't shop. Some people got put in camps for not doing things that maybe the CDC or whoever wanted them to do. But that is the difference. Rules that are justly applied, whether with a Cantillon effect fiat system, those rules are for you, but not for thee, right? Rules for me, or rules for thee, but not for me. That's what you have in a centralized system, and a consolidation of power continually as they're closer to the money printer. And you'll see how things work out in a macro setting. Usually on a pivot, that's when you hit the severe recession mark right at that point. But it also allows those closest to the money printer to scrape up as many assets for their cookbooks as possible, so they still get benefited at both ends of the table. But this is what we're looking to move forward: a free, open, prosperous future for everybody.
Love it. This is the separation of money and state, and getting the Bitcoin signal outside of just Bitcoin Twitter is one of the most important things we can be doing. So shouts out to Max Keiser for reaching out to adjacent groups that really do believe in what we talk about here constantly on the show. The most important thing going on right now is the separation of money and state, and few understand what is going on, but Bitcoiners do. So spread the signal. Get to groups that are close to Bitcoin, that have Bitcoin ideals. They're Bitcoiners. They just don't know it yet. Everyone is a Bitcoiner, and soon enough, everyone will figure this out. Anyways, let's get into the news. We got a lot to talk about, and Rustin's got a good little story to tell you. Let's go.
The Daily News.
The Daily News is brought to you by Blockstream Jade. Built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. It's an open source hardware wallet for the cold storage of Bitcoin. Check out the brand new limited edition color, the transparent green Jade. Blockstream Jade houses a full color camera, allowing for fully air-gapped Bitcoin transactions, scan and display QR codes directly on the device, assign transactions, and verify addresses with ease. Use your Blockstream Jade with your favorite wallet software, such as Blockstream Green, Blue Wallet, Electrum, Sparrow. Get yourself a Blockstream Jade today and take self-custody of your Bitcoin.
Alrighty, people are asking, what about China? Here's the deal with China. They, of course, threw all the miners out a few months ago. Hash rate collapsed, price collapsed a bit, but all that stuff started to recover again, and it shows that Bitcoin is resilient. It doesn't really care what China's doing. So China came in with some new ban of Bitcoin. It's ban number 537. They're going to keep banning it every year forever. It doesn't make any difference. Bitcoin is bigger than China.
Oh yeah, Max Keiser dropping that signal yet again. And let's get into it. We got big news out of China, starting here with Hong Kong. And is the world's most crypto-ready jurisdiction, according to new claims. Investors find Hong Kong appealing as it does not tax capital gains on quote-unquote crypto. Check that out, Janet. The study said the U.S. and Switzerland are the second and third most quote-unquote shitcoin-ready countries in the world, according to the study. Hong Kong has been welcoming investments from digital asset companies and has set out new rules for the industry, which will come into effect June 1st as the city aims to become a global hub. Hong Kong, Switzerland, Panama, Portugal, Germany, Malaysia, and Turkey have the lowest crypto taxes since profits made from trading are exempt from capital gains taxes for individuals. So not too bad, a little deal. So they're trying to maybe lure Bitcoiners and businesses back to China. And the question is, did they ever leave with their quote unquote ban? I mean, how many times have they banned Bitcoin? What did Keiser say? 500, something like that. But are they changing their stance? There was a recent clip. I was going to play it, but it's all in Mandarin and there's no subtitles. So you're probably not going to get anything out of that. But a segment highlighted the adoption of digital assets in Hong Kong. It was aired on CCTV May 23rd. And according to the report, regulators have completed their preparations for the trading of virtual assets within the special administrative region. They are now ready to accept applications for virtual asset trading platforms. So VAT clearances and things like that. China's prominent state broadcaster is believed to reach a massive audience of over 1 billion individuals through its diverse programs. Surprisingly, the 98-second segment on digital assets did not express any negative views. So this is very good and in sharp contrast to the regulations that we've seen come out of China. And we had someone that we kind of put through the shitcoin meat grinder yesterday, but I guess Binance's CEO, CZ, thought that this was super bullish. China's state-affiliated media company, CCTV, aired a video about cryptocurrency on May 24th that garnered a lot of attention on shitcoin Twitter. Binance CEO CZ called it a big deal and claimed that historical coverages like these led to bull runs. Just a day after CZ's comment, though, the CCTV network removed the video from its platform, and the video program discussed recent developments, compliance in Hong Kong, and featured some shitcoin, meme coin that turned out to be a pump and dump. So their media is promoting shitcoins and also getting licensure and promoting business. Kind of funny that the CCP had that brought down. But again, a lot of people are seeing this as bullish news. Binance CEO, but of course, he would like to have anywhere to trade his unregistered securities and shitcoins. And we know of this past and the connection between CZ and China that goes back for quite a ways. But here we go, more from Crypto Flash. Breaking for Bitcoin, China's biggest television station promotes Bitcoin. Bull run expected soon, as per Binance's CZ. Now, we're not going to get into price speculation because we just know to stay humble, stack sats, and the scarce, desirable, absolutely scarce Bitcoin will take care of the rest. Chinese president, and I want to get into some of this because we're getting into history a little bit. And typically, what happens if you don't learn from history? You're doomed to repeat it. But we see Xi and Russia and China looking towards cooperation. We've seen BRICS talking about alternative currencies to the dollar, de-dollarization. Now, back when the gold standard really took effect, based on a cost-benefit analysis, China thought that if they went the silver route, that they would win out in the end. But it ended up silver was demonetized and gold became more monetized, and it put China in a deeper hole. Now, usually you make a mistake like that, you're not going to repeat it in the future, you hope. And that's what it looked like to me. Just 2 years ago, China banned Bitcoin mining, causing one of the largest hash rate collapses. But that didn't last very long, as only a year later, just a year later, Bitcoin mining was back in China. China banned Bitcoin mining, but just a year later, the nation's contributions to the Bitcoin mining network were second only to the U.S. According to the Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance, China is once again a major Bitcoin miner despite a prohibition last year. The CCAF's Bitcoin Electricity Consumption Index, China's contribution to the Bitcoin mining network, was only second to the U.S. And we have a tweet here. And China commands close to 22% of Bitcoin's global hash rate. And we've seen these recent jumps, with many speculating on where some of these new pools are popping up, and the hash rate continues to climb, but Bitcoin's incentives continue to win. And even in the CCP, they can't deny Bitcoin. Now, historically, China made that mistake. And now we have Microsoft, and this just came out the other day. You guys know about the satellite phones, all this interesting happenings on. And we're just trying to put the pieces together and see what Klaus and the boys have planned up next for everybody. But Microsoft accused China of attempting to hack into critical U.S. infrastructure. The charges have been condemned by China's foreign ministry as a disinformation campaign. Microsoft stated that one of the targets was the Pacific Ocean nation of Guam, which is home to U.S. military sites. According to the IT giant, malicious activities have occurred in other areas as well, and mitigating this attack would be challenging. Well, if you adopted Bitcoin and you had your data protected by the strongest computing network on the planet, you might not have to deal with these problems. And we wrote this in one of our articles, Currency Wars, Silent Wars and Quiet Weapons. It's kind of in that vein of Lowry. But if a nation wants to be protected in the future, they're going to have to embrace Bitcoin or be at a disadvantage to the countries that do. Going back to history, just recently, Putin delivered a speech comparing the current woke culture of the U.S. and Europe to what happened in the Soviet Union with the Bolsheviks. So if you know that early history around World War I, the Bolsheviks come into power and there's this overthrow, and kind of what was espoused by them seems to be espoused by different culture today in the U.S. So it looks like Russia is trying to learn from those past mistakes, moving on here towards being a leader in their own economic bloc. China learning not to go, what do we call that? When it's just because there's more silver, so you think their cost benefit is there higher, but it'd be like them choosing to go with Ethereum today rather than Bitcoin and repeating those mistakes. I don't know if any of you guys have seen The Shining, but in The Shining, they try to talk about history and the Native American genocide. So at the end of that movie, when Danny's running through the snow, it's like he's running back through history, unable to face it. But once he retraces his steps and learns about his history, he can create a new route, right? And that's kind of what we see China, Russia doing now. Will the U.S. revert to making mistakes? Those on the other end of the spectrum, when we think about freedom and choice and those things, have been doing, because you can't ban Bitcoin. When it comes to banning Bitcoin, China definitely takes the crown for having one of the most amusing experiences. And as we go here, I'm going to scroll through and let you guys look at a few of the instances of China bans throughout the years. So in 2019, China banned virtual currency, but a group of, government officials in China, they sit around at their conference table, discuss their grand plan. Hey, we're going to shut this thing down. We're going to ban Bitcoin, boys. And they stroke their chins, they nod, convinced they can extinguish the wildfire once and for all. And so they issue their ban. They will surely put an end to Bitcoin, they thought, pat each other on the back. But little did they know, Bitcoiners are resilient. We adapt. Undeterred, Chinese officials put on their thinking caps again. We'll shut down Bitcoin mining, thinking that they discovered Bitcoin's Achilles heel, so to say. But lo and behold, Bitcoin miners, ever resourceful, migrated their operations to different countries. They popped up like digital nomads, setting up shop in more hospitable lands and continuing to mint that precious corn. The Chinese officials scratched their heads in disbelief. How is this possible? We banned it, we shut it down, and yet it persists. That's because you can't ban Bitcoin any more than you can ban pandas from being adorable. The absurdity of this situation was not lost on them, though. So you can't ban Bitcoin. My friends, China stands as a prime example that no matter how hard you try, Bitcoin just can't be contained. It's like trying to stop a panda from munching on bamboo or attempting to ban laughter. It's an unstoppable force, spreading its digital energy and joy all across the globe. In the end, we can all have a good laugh at these futile attempts to ban something as elusive and untamed as Bitcoin, because when it comes to this decentralized wonder, it's clear that resistance is not only futile, but it's absolutely hilarious. And Bitcoin continues to win day in and day out and block after block.
Amazing, amazing. Before I go on, though, what's the obsession with pandas? No, I'm just man, interesting stuff going on. It really does feel like China is talking out of both sides of its mouth. You know, they do have that two Chinas, one rule system going on. So to me, it is very, very interesting and low-key suspect that they are trying to lure Bitcoiners into Hong Kong, but also have like their official, ban, their official negative policy towards Bitcoin on the mainland. So we can only really speculate on their intentions, but we have heard that the Chinese officials have endorsed Bitcoin and the Hong Kong move. So, is this a continuation of the de-dollarization theme we've been seeing? Is this them embracing Bitcoin? Is this them just wanting to lure everyone to Hong Kong so that they can crack down on crypto and Bitcoin? Who knows? Only time will tell. But I think the interesting aspect, of course, is what we say here all the time. You can't ban Bitcoin. You can only ban yourself from Bitcoin. And if you guys remember when we covered the recent presidential economic report, that they literally referenced the China ban as a good thing. And so we know the Biden administration is not fans of Bitcoin. I'm sure you guys all saw DeSantis on Twitter Spaces yesterday say the very same thing. We've seen Brad Sherman, my favorite politician, and Liz Warren, who's also referenced China as them doing a good thing of taxing and banning Bitcoin. Well, how'd that go for China, guys? Like, wake up, politicians. I know you guys are scared for your power and position, but you cannot stop this movement. This is a global phenomenon. And as much as you guys want to shoot yourselves in the foot and shoot the citizens of the United States selves in the foot, you're not going to be able to stop this. This is an attempt to hamper Bitcoin adoption. And, again, I hate to endorse China's move by any means, but I mean, I think the incentive structures of Bitcoin are set up in a way where if they truly are, at least I mean Hong Kong, if they really are opening up the floodgates to Bitcoin this time around, it's going to be very interesting to see whether they start to flourish, or as we know, they will flourish. It's not if, but hey, we are seeing the game theory of Bitcoin play out on a global level, whether it is, in a small country like El Salvador or whether it is in China. Everyone will bend the knee to Bitcoin, and it's only a matter of time until America wakes up and does the same thing. But I think the bullish take is the bottom's been in, boys. Please, sir, we are going to make it. Man, I think it's just one of those things, the very end of a bear market. It takes a lot of not only news, but a lot of capital and liquidity to turn the price around. But it's looking up, and it's looking like history will repeat, and the bull market will be starting to be in full commence here soon. So I hope you guys are stacking sats. I hope you guys are taking Bitcoin into self-custody. And before I get people in the chat calling us status, this is not endorsing Hong Kong or China. It is just acknowledging that everyone, whether you like them or not, will embrace Bitcoin. It's only a matter of time. It's only the incentive structures of Bitcoin. And that just means Bitcoin stays winning. So you guys are early. You guys are in a position right now with asymmetric knowledge. You know how the world will move moving forward. So buckle up, get ready. I think the next 6 years is going to be absolutely amazing as a Bitcoiner, and this next decade or two is going to blow our minds just how incredible Bitcoin has taken over. But anyways, before I go on, of course, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Orange Pill app. Stack friends who stack sats. Go check out the orangepillapp.com. The number one resource to get in touch with Bitcoiners, that get in touch with Bitcoin events. And if there is no Bitcoin only event in your area, if there's no Bitcoin meetup, create one and then post it on the app and get more people to come hang out with you, because the only thing worse than being early is being the only Bitcoiner that's early and being the crazy Bitcoiner in your own town. So whether it's a meetup, whether it's simply to link up with Bitcoiners and grab a drink, unplug from the fiat matrix, get on the Orange Pill app, hang out with other Bitcoiners as we usher in the bright orange future. Anyways, let's get into the culture. I think you guys are going to like this one. I dug up an article that just wraps everything up perfectly here.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today.
Okay, guys, before we get into the culture, we want to tell you about Swan's IRA. Their new offer, Bitcoin is generational wealth, and you can secure your bright orange future with the Swan IRA. Real Bitcoin, no taxes. Swan offers both traditional and Roth options to best fit your needs. Create your IRA and start adding Bitcoin in less than 1 minute. Transfers and rollovers are available. Swan's Bitcoin experts will hold you with white glove service. They will get you set up quickly. This is real Bitcoin, not an ETF or other derivatives. Get the real thing and get it at Swan. Go to swanbitcoin.com/IRA. I know all you plebs out there are like, oh man, get the real thing, get spot Bitcoin, but there's levels to this. I'm pretty sure your parents are probably afraid of Bitcoin. This is a step towards full custody and opting out of the traditional financial system because, hey, there's still a lot of people with 401ks and they can't just instantly drop it all. There's levels. Have some patience. Anyways, I saw this tweet by Grubbles, aka @NotGrubbles on Twitter, and he quote tweeted the clip that Rustin was talking about the Chinese Central Television Network broadcasting the news that Hong Kong is allowing retail investors June 1st. And he just quote tweeted it with an article of his that he dropped in 2019. And the reason I want to cover this today is because we are seeing a lot of new people get into Bitcoin, whether that is you guys out there, the everyday average Bitcoiner, or whether it's the political class, whether it is independent content creators that have followings from, normal corporate tight news segments. We are seeing new people get into it, and they're all kind of trying to wrap their head around the idea of Bitcoin. And not everyone has had the time to put in as much effort as much work to understand Bitcoin. And I'm hearing the same theme over and over and over again. We played a few different clips throughout the show this week with the idea of, oh, maybe they will ban Bitcoin. Maybe they can stop Bitcoin. Well, this article by Not Grubbles is simply titled, "One Does Not Simply Censor Bitcoin." So I want to cover this article. Again, I am going to do a little reading more than usual because he said it best himself. And I think people need to get the message that you can't ban Bitcoin. You can't censor Bitcoin. And this is a feature, not a bug. Anyways, here we go. How does anyone censor something abstract and intangible, something that can consist of an arrangement of numbers and letters and can be transported via any medium? If you guys aren't aware, Bitcoin is simply text all the way through. It is a database. Don't get confused in all the nuance and the jargon that you may be hearing from the corporate press or your favorite politician. It is simply text. What do? Ban pen and paper, phone calls and the spoken word, smoke signals, Morse code? To what end? What about the electronic transmission of this data that can be hidden in other data like images or music? You're going to ban music and puppy pictures? This is unbannable, guys. It truly, truly is. You're not going to ban Bitcoin, so just give up. Being able to effectively censor Bitcoin means monitoring and potentially jamming all means of communication in every nation and jurisdiction, and I will add, at the same time. A task so insurmountable and so tyrannical to engage in that it is unlikely to be successful. With simple tools, user can hide block hashes and transaction data within images, text documents, practically anything. I don't know if he's trolling on this one, but he says there is 100,000 million. There's $1 billion of Bitcoin embedded in this image of a white fluffy Pomeranian. I'm going to take his word for this. Anyways, with easily accessible tools available today, it would be impossible to keep Bitcoin transactions or block hashes from being transported or otherwise transmitted electronically. If you can encode block hashes and transactions into human words, there is little you can do to keep them from being communicated. And we got a tweet here from Grubbles, and it goes, need to transport a Bitcoin transaction, but don't want anyone to know what it is. Run the raw transaction through this Python script to generate human readable words instead of hex for posting on Twitter, message board, satellite, etc. You can literally turn transactions into words, encrypt it, and hide it. How are you going to stop words? How are you going to stop math? Anyways, let's get going. In fact, I'm working on a service where you can call 1-833 BLK hash and leave a voicemail of a raw transaction encoded into English words. The service will then decode the message back into hexadecimal and broadcast it to the Bitcoin network for you. TLDR, you can turn, transactions into human readable words via a phone call. How are you going to stop this? Anyways, other services can provide Bitcoin data like the now defunct Crypto Radio, a service that broadcasted Bitcoin data from a terrestrial radio tower. Amateur radio also provides a means for users to broadcast transactions via open, unlicensed radio frequencies. And we got a tweet here from NVK and it goes, bam, Bitcoin sent over 7.077 megahertz via JS8 call to Samuel Pat. Because it is a brain wallet made ahead of time. With Bearer PK, I don't require internet to broadcast this transaction at the time. I am sending it with cheap satellite TV hardware. It is possible to discreetly receive a Bitcoin transaction sent from across the globe using Blockstream satellite. Even during internet blackouts, Kuban radio is still being beamed down. And I hear it all the time. What if they shut off the internet? And I say it usually jokingly, but seriously, if the electricity is shut down, I think we have bigger problems on our hands. But nonetheless, we can still get Bitcoin transactions. Anyways, broadcast transactions outbound with mesh networking hardware like a Gotenna mesh unit. Services like Blockstream satellite API service allow anyone to broadcast pieces of data to a global coverage area. The data is then also relayed to social media such as Telegram or Twitter. Initial block downloads can be done via SneakerNet, which basically means you can walk the data to someone, or flash drive airdrop if needed. Fly a drone around an area and drop USB sticks with the Bitcoin block data and other appropriate subversive software. Illegal number evil. How do you truly criminalize numbers? Bitcoin is intangible and isn't physically stored anywhere. Well, technically, all Bitcoins are stored on all nodes, but users only have the ability to record changes of ownership to the Bitcoins they control. So what does it mean to actually enforce a ban on the possession of Bitcoin? Think about it. It's made even more ridiculous with the advent of mnemonics and seeds. While not necessarily recommended, it is possible to memorize the seed to a wallet and leave no physical or electronic trace of Bitcoin possession. A ban on Bitcoin is purely symbolic and impossible to enforce in practice. And he says, in a related example of this is the case of the first illegal number. I'm not going to read the whole number. It's a huge number. Actually, we'll read the whole number. 1-325-627-8887-9845765-101-865-901-401-704640. That's one long number. Anyways, yes, this is an illegal number. You're a criminal now that you've heard it, and you should be ashamed of yourself. A stern letter is being written about this heinous crime and will be mailed shortly. Simply Bitcoin wrecked. Anyways, back in 2001, this 128-bit number used in DVD and Blu-ray encryption was discovered and allowed users to decrypt and back up disks they legally purchased. There was a decent amount of controversy around the dissemination of this number, and it led to a few cease and desist letters being sent to websites and news media organizations that displayed the number. You are not allowed to see this number or write it down because number bad. Ultimately, no one was charged or arrested for discovering or publishing the number because, well, it's just a number. Gee whiz. While this example is not relevant to Bitcoin custody entirely, it shows this sort of information outlying has a certain absurdity and impracticability to it. Maths are bad. This one is easiest to explain. Mining cannot be banned because to ban mining is to ban mathematics itself. Not that it is quick or easy, but you can hash SHA-256D by hand if you want. Miners can simply pack up and leave to relatively remote regions and live off renewable energy sources if governments are stupid enough to ban mining. Mining can be discrete if hardware is split between different warehouses, and Blockstream satellites can provide a downlink to keep hardware working on the latest published block. If a block is found locally, it can be broadcasted by any of the technology mentioned before in this post. The only detectable things are energy usage, heat, or maybe noise. So that's the gist of it. Censoring Bitcoin? No. I mean, actually engaging in a sustained censorship of Bitcoin is incredibly impractical. And we just brought you the receipts. Whether it is literally by the mechanism of trying to censor Bitcoin, trying to ban Bitcoin. They can't do it. Now, they can do some PR. I've heard, politicians on both sides, presidential candidates on both sides of the aisle say the same thing. They will fight for your right to be able to hold Bitcoin. We won't ban Bitcoin. Well, appreciate the lip service, but you can't ban Bitcoin anyways. So this is why you run a node. This is why you run the Bitcoin network yourself. This is why people have printed the Bitcoin blockchain, the actual UTXO data set into Word. This is why the actual code of Bitcoin has been printed into Word. There is historical precedent in this. You cannot ban words. This is a First Amendment issue. Bitcoin is simply speech. It is a database. They cannot ban math. They cannot ban words. And as much as they may angle like they can, now you know that they cannot ban Bitcoin. This is a feature, not a bug. So, hey, appreciate everyone out there that tries to ban Bitcoin, because that just proves to me one thing. It means I need more Bitcoin, because if your government wants to ban Bitcoin, then that means they're afraid of what we are doing here. So continue to spread the Bitcoin signal, run the network, take Bitcoin into self-custody. This is the way. This is how we win. This is how we continue to win, is by distributing the network to every corner of the world, because it is unstoppable. This is a global phenomenon. Have fun staying poor if you try to ban Bitcoin. Anyways, I ranted enough. What's up, Rustin?
No, you nailed it. Have fun staying poor if you try to ban Bitcoin. And it's pretty telling, the power of Bitcoin, when the CCP can't even shut down a free market and sound money technology, or that they can't even not give in to the incentives of it. So it's like this Trojan horse all over the place. It doesn't matter what type of government you have. This Austrian economic monster is just going to enter your domain. And then from there, free markets come. From there, sound money and time preference comes. So, I mean, the CCP's letting it in. The cat's out of the bag. The rest of the world is woken up to it for the most part. Only those in power that are seeking to maintain their current status are attacking it. No politician gains anything from attacking Bitcoin, but they do gain from supporting Bitcoin. So the incentives are also there in that take. And then, politicians who can trust those people, but people that aren't career politicians, those ones, the Ron Pauls of the world, or the guy that wrote the truth about Anthony Fauci, or there's a few others out there, but that tend to side for free speech. And that is the root of all of it, because we had the 90s precedent where software was declared speech. But also in recent times, the Citizens United case designated something else as speech, and that is money. So our money that we choose to use and how we choose to use it is freedom of expression and freedom of speech. So there's no stopping that without just completely showing your cards as a tyrannical regime. And they're not ready to go that far yet. And we just keep on moving, baby. They can't stop the freedom virus.
Well, it almost seems like we are getting into that stage in the story. But anyways, before we go on, I got to tell you about BitPlates. Obviously, get yourself a BitPlates domino. Listen to this. You hear that? You hear how sturdy this is? These things are solid AF. Easy to use, hard to destroy. BitPlates dominoes are designed to preserve your Bitcoin wallet, backup seed words, and passphrases. Made from highly corrosion-resistant 316L marine-grade stainless steel and offering the ultimate protection against extremes of temperature. Use simply on BitPlates and get 10% off all of the products. Shouts out to the boys at BitPlate. Again, hear that? You hear that? It's damn near indestructible. Anyways, let's get into your favorite portion of the show, because you watch everything else just to get to here. All right.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Kaboom Racks. I get this question all the time. Nico, where should I buy Bitcoin miners? The answer is Kaboom Racks. It's the best place to buy Bitcoin miners. That's where you're going to find the best deals and the best prices. Start your mining utopia today. To check out their racks, you got to go to t.me/Kaboom Racks. Join their Telegram group and start your mining journey today. Kaboom Racks.
Let's go. Hold on. I want to read this comment right here by Rave Elevator, because that's the sound of hard money. hey, it's almost like Bitcoin is tangible. It's almost like it's you can hold it in your hands. All right, anyways, this is the meme review, your favorite portion of the show. Kaboom Rex, where you send us memes and we review them live, and you drop your meme review score in the chat so that we can cover it live as well. Continue to tag me in the memes on Twitter. Continue to drop the memes in our Telegram group. I try to find as many as possible. If I don't get to them today or this week, I'm sure I will get to them eventually. Anyways, this first meme is... it's sometimes the memes write themselves, okay? Sometimes all you really have to do is just point them out and realize the ridiculousness of the thing that is unironically not a meme until you point it in this direction. Anyways, Chrissy Lagarde just took this picture here where she's cutting cake, and she goes, "Whatever it cakes," and it says, I don't know what the 25 stands for, but it says 25 ECB. And then Preston Pish goes, "Let them eat cake." Chrissy Antoinette, let them eat cake. This is where we are in the story, guys. This is where we are right now. This is how detached these unproductive parasitic class is from reality. They are using quotes from Marianne Antoinette herself. Let them eat cake. Let's hope we just don't end up where I can't even say that on YouTube. Anyways, shout out to Mike Hobart. He knows where I was going with this one. All right, the BTC therapist goes meme of the week. We got a black belt karate Bitcoin maxi about to kick a wizard in the face. This is the meme of the week. Shouts out to all you toxic MFers on Twitter. Anyways, this next one, shouts out to my boy HT, aka at Huddle Tarantula. He continues to drop the wisdom on you on Twitter, and he's got a Bitcoin AI picture here. I don't really know what it is. It's orange and it's got the Bitcoin logo, and he goes, "Good morning. True strength lies not in dominating others, but in protecting the vulnerable and standing up for what is right. Approach love and empathy with the same conviction. Be a shield for those who cannot protect themselves. In doing so, you will embody the highest ideals of humanity." Tarantula just dropping wisdom consistently. If you're not following Tarantula, definitely follow him. Anyways, yesterday we posted Lena's meme about the little regulator. Well, she updated it with the normie version of the little regulator. And we have a normie here, and he goes, "I create a budget." He's got a couple dollars here in his hand. He goes, "I create a budget." And then he throws the fiat away and he goes, "I ignore the budget." And now the normie is broke, except we don't have the money printer. So nope, you are actually broke. Imagine if individuals ran their finances like a government runs the national debt. You'd be absolutely bankrupt. Anyways, this next meme is by @RD_BTC, and he goes, "Shitcoins use cases be like," and we got this guy sitting here with a hammer and nail and trying to nail down the ocean's water in the sand. This is the use case of your shitcoin. Anyways, this next meme is by Alex. Sorry, bro. Stanzik. How do you say his name, Rustin? Do you know how to say Alex's Stanzik?
Stanzik.
Yeah, okay, Alex Stanzik of Cafe Bitcoin. We got this AI mid-journey picture of Bitcoin that is an hourglass, and it goes, "We have already mined over 92.29% of the Bitcoin that will ever be mined and issue. Bitcoin is the first asset in the history of mankind with an inflationary endpoint of 0. There will be a time when you will not be able to buy it, only work for those who already own Bitcoin." Absolute bars. Okay, this next one, shouts out to my boy Copernicus. I am 100% positive this is YouTube friendly, but we dropped this meme yesterday. Lightning simply works when Bitcoin fees are high, and you got layer 1 BTC, which was Britney Spears, and it's my Lightning wallet, and it's me. I forget who this guy is, and he's hugging his Lightning wallet, very happy. And then Copernicus goes, "Correction, Bitcoin only simply works." And we got Copper Nixon over here in bed with his 3 lovely ladies. And one of them is my CoinJoy cold storage stack. The other one is my Sovereign Ellen node / wallet. And the third babe is my Foss full node. This boy be spitting bars. Anyways, oh man, hey, when Nico's away, the house burns and we have fun. Anyways, don't tell him. Shh. Anyways, drop your meme review score in the chat and I will cover them live. My meme review score chat for today is the 2023 version of the Kaboom Racks stress.
Ooh.
They updated a new one. Also, a little story time so you guys can get your score in the chat. I was walking around the conference floor and my boy Alex from Kaboom Racks, one of my good friends, I was walking and he literally threw one and it hit me square in the face when I was talking to someone. Yeah, that's what happens on the conference floor. Anyway, what's your meme review score, Rustin?
Let me get it up there because we're talking about the honey badger. He don't care. So a little from Bitcoin Pins, a little honey badger right there. Honey badger don't care.
Let's go. Okay, guys, while we are waiting for your meme review, go check out representltd.com. Go get all the merch. I'm wearing the Trust No One Represent Orange Pill shirt. This is actually one of my favorite shirts. I wear it all the time. Rustin has the Represent Simply Bitcoin Snapback. I'm almost positive. I will check over the weekend. I'm pretty sure there's still some over there, but you can scan the QR code on the screen, get sent directly to representltd.com. You can get a discount if you use the code simply-bitcoin. Really appreciate every single one of you guys that rocks the merch. But hey, go check out everything else that the boys over at Represent are making. It's super comfy. It even makes your arms look buff. They got a nice cut so you guys look buffer than you are. Anyways, let's get to some of these meme review scores. Oh, I completely forgot the music. Your boy's busy. Your boy's busy over here. Okay, let's see. Let me see. Is there some that came up? Nope. Okay, we're going to start with Elaine. Elaine's meme review score is bankers raise white flag. They realize the Bitcoin war is already over before it starts because they have no weapons against hard, unconfiscatable, perfect freedom money. Get some bars on that one. Okay. We have pay producer Jacob Sats for his 10 seconds wasted score. Copper Nixon's meme, but with wine instead of the cat. Oh, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Okay, this next meme review score is Phil C. And he goes, I give these memes one honey badger that don't care. Let's go. This next one is by Narwhal Tacos. And he goes, give those memes the one more sit up I just did during my workout. Let's go.
Yeah, this is the way.
This is the way. Okay, this next one is by Hodl Coin. He goes, I give those memes my favorite type of cake, German chocolate, Weimar vibe, stack, sats. Okay. McLovin goes, meme score, Opti disguised as a pizza delivery guy and infiltrating Chrissy's compound orange pillar. Okay.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Okay, it's basic biology. I give the meme some epic music in the background. Oh, man, dude, wrecked. Yeah, I don't have it. I don't have music. Okay, maybe if I have enough time, I'll get it for you guys tomorrow.
Steve's got a good one.
Let's go. Okay, we got Steve Dre, and he goes, score one Hong Kong CCP shitcoin. Oof. Okay, let's see. Last one. Apollo 21. I bestow upon the memes the feeling of unloading one's entire non-Bitcoin stack for Bitcoin. Let's go. Absolutely bullish. And I do have the buzzer. Everyone's saying that McLovin won again. Which one was? Yeah, he did. Okay, guys. Well, one more episode for you guys tomorrow. And then Nico will be back and the show will go on. But Rustin, absolutely killing it. Really appreciate you showing up. Really appreciate you continuously spreading the signal. And I cannot wait to get them Rustin clips back up on the show we can get
Thanks, brother.
We can get you with your tinfoil hat on, bro.
Fearless Leader will be back soon, guys. Don't worry.
Let's go. Oh my God. We're getting roasted in the chat right here. Shouts out pay producer Jacob Sats for his 10 second wasted. Oh my God. He's making me choke. All right, guys. You already know the deal. We will be back tomorrow, same time as usual, 12:15 p.m. Eastern time. But before I go, if you want the show in audio form, we are on Anchor, Spotify, Apple. We are a part of the Value for Value economy on Fountain. I don't think we have enough time anymore to read out your comments every Friday, but know that we are looking at them. We appreciate them. Really, really means a lot to us that you guys have made us a part of your life. We understand the humble and the honor that it is to be your broadcaster every single day. So I really appreciate you guys. I love you guys. We will be back tomorrow, and we are on Twitter Spaces today, guys. So go hang out with me on Twitter. I don't know how to point it out, but we will be back tomorrow. Peace out, guys. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Actually, before I go, spread all the Bitcoin signal, not just Simply Bitcoin. We love you. We appreciate you spreading just Simply Bitcoin signal, but spread it all. And then, of course, come hang out with us on Telegram, t.me/simplybitcointv. Also, simplybitcoin.com is live, simplybitcoin.news to get us written form. You can subscribe over there if you want to support the boys, but we're going to give it to you guys for free forever just because the signal shouldn't be behind a paywall. We're going to spread the signal far and wide. We're trying to stay as independent as possible over here, but we got to pay the bills. Anyways, we will see you guys tomorrow, but come hang out with us on Twitter Spaces. Peace out. Until next time, this is your boy Opti, and we are Simply Bitcoin.